And here comes Ibushi again from the top rope. Oh my gosh!
In 2016, WWE launched a network-exclusive tournament showcasing the best wrestlers under 205 pounds that would be simply known as the Cruiserweight Classic. A 32-man single elimination tournament held for 10 weeks with the winner getting a trophy to be recognized as the best cruiserweight in the world. Cruiserweights haven't been at the forefront of WWE programming ever since the title and its division was retired back in 2007. With the rise of NXT and WWE going hard on signing top indie talents, it seemed like the perfect time to introduce them back and bring more eyes to the WWE network. To this day, the tournament is regarded as one of the single greatest concepts WWE has ever produced and is looked back fondly amongst wrestling fans. In this video, we'll take a special look back at this one-of-a-kind event and what made the Cruiserweight Classic so great. Let's talk about the overall presentation. WWE really went all in on the production value and it shows. From the intro to the lighting and the arena design, it really felt like its own show and not just some extension of NXT or something. The purple team used throughout the show was a nice touch as it really separated it from the red, blue, and yellow branding we'd usually see in the main shows. WWE built a good ensemble of crew here, with Corey Graves at the back providing bracketology updates and the announce team consisting of Mauro Ranallo and Daniel Bryan who had such a good chemistry. Mauro was of course an already proven play-by-play commentator, but Bryan just added so much passion and in-ring knowledge which made watching the whole thing way more fun. I also want to acknowledge WWE's effort to make it feel like more of a real sporting event rather than just a pre-booked show. Much like in boxing or MMA, competitors are required to reach a specific weight limit at 205 pounds or less. Alternates were announced just in case one of the 32 competitors failed to reach said weight limit or gets injured. The announcers even mentioned stories of guys like Cedric Alexander having to drop 20 pounds just to make the cut. Also similar to combat sports, the referee had to check competitors for any foreign object or illegal weapons before the match begins. They were given instructions and were asked for a show of sportsmanship. Most of them obliged, while others, not so much. Before the match, we'd get a video package introducing each competitor. It's a good way to give more insight to who we're about to watch as honestly, at the time I have no clue who half of these wrestlers were. A tail of the tape would be shown highlighting each individual's fighting styles. They would also announce the country the competitor is representing as they make their entrance. After the match, the winner is only announced once both men are on their feet and their hand has been raised. These are nice subtle touches that really adds to the pageantry of it all. When I hear the word Cruiserweight, I think of the Rey Mysterios or the Eddie Guerreros of the world. But no, the Cruiserweight Classic opened my eyes to so much more and made me realize that Cruiserweights aren't just about guys doing a bunch of flippy shit. What I love about this tournament is the clash of styles. You still got the Luchadors in Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik, and that's all fun and good. But then you have Drew Gulak, Jack Gallagher, and of course, Zack Sabre Jr., who make ground-based technical wrestling so fun to watch. There's also a mix of familiar faces with NXT stars like Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, and returning WWE alumni in Tajiri and Brian Kendrick, who were sorely missed since I grew up watching these guys. And then you have Kota Ibushi, the one who many, including me, thought was gonna win the whole thing. This man needs no introduction, having had an already legendary career in Japan. Yo, if you wanna see just how good he is, just watch him wrestle a match with the fucking blow-up doll and turn it into a 5-star classic. The first round was more of a getting to know you phase, with only a limited amount of TV time to go around. Most of the matches were short and sweet by design, but there were still some standouts worth talking about. Sean Maluta and Kota Ibushi capped off the first week with a surprisingly good competitive match. I honestly thought this was gonna be just a squash for Ibushi, but no, Maluta gave him the work. Code breakers, super kicks, Kawada kicks. He put in some good offense here, and at one point even making a smooth save to a botched outside dive. But of course, he's no match for Ibushi, who did a nasty looking roundhouse kick followed by his Golden Star powerbomb to end the match. Another highlight of the round was Lince Dorado versus Mustafa Ali. Side note, watching this again, I honestly don't remember Ali having a short hair at all. With such short time given for each match, it was kinda hard to get to that second gear and have the audience invested enough to chant, "This is awesome." But man, these two somehow managed to pull it off in just over 5 minutes. As soon as the match started, it was all systems go. Springboard moves, outside dives, you name it, they did it. This is as flippy as you can get, but in a good way. I mean, everyone was in awe when Dorado pulled off a springboard reverse Frankensteiner and Ali sold it to perfection. How about that spot when Ali did a springboard Spanish fly? Jaw-dropping. Ali would miss a reverse 450 and Lindsay would capitalize, hitting one of the smoothest shooting star press I've ever seen for the win. It's nice to know that even though Ali got bounced in the first round, he still managed to stick around in the WWE longer than most of the men in the tournament. Fabian Eichner, or Giovanni Vinci as we know him in Imperium, also had a great showing against Jack Gallagher, whose gentleman gimmick I think was pretty underrated. Both men were so technically sound in the early going. Gallagher made some mind-bending reversal holds that even made Daniel Bryan fall in love.
Is it possible for me to be in love with a man through watching him on television?
Eichner, meanwhile, is an anomaly. I cannot believe a man could pull off a double springboard moonsault one moment and then do this one the next. What a freak athlete. Gentleman Jack won with a corner dropkick that Brian called the best he's ever seen. The crowd chanted, "Thank you both," and with that performance, thank you both indeed. And of course, the final match of round 1, Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. Without a doubt, the best match of the entire round and one of the best of the entire tournament, period. These two so-called tag team partners must have watched Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania 21 because they beat the ever-living crap out of each other. This match was as hard-hitting as it gets. In the early going, Johnny Wrestling was doing a basic wrist lock when Ciampa elbowed him so hard spit went flying out, and then he immediately stiffed him with a knee to the head. Ciampa was working like a heel here, even mocking his partner.
He has to be careful of the...
Every strike they hit, it looked and sounded so hard. It's like these two had some legit beef. If you know, you know. Mauro even called it perfectly on commentary.
These two are a tag team?
At one point, they were fighting off the outside apron and Ciampa hits an air raid crash on the hardest part of the ring. In the immortal words of good old JR, Johnny Gargano looked like he was done for, but in a moment of weakness, Ciampa would hesitate hitting his partner with the exposed knee and Johnny would take advantage. During the final moments, as Ciampa was grabbing his beaten down partner by the jaw with one last act of defiance, Johnny would slap Ciampa and the Psycho Killer would lose his shit, slapping his friend over and over. He threw out his elbow pad and was gonna go for the elbow, but Johnny countered it into a backslide, which then got countered into an armbar and then to another backslide, and Johnny would steal the win. Whew, what a match. It's no surprising their eventual rivalry would end up being so violent. In a nice moment after the match, Johnny reached out his hand to his partner, but the frustrated Ciampa looked as if he was gonna walk out. But then he went back, sat down, and they hugged it out. But looking back, I think this is the match that sowed the seeds for Ciampa's eventual heel turn. Round 2 saw a much better overall quality in matches as everyone was given more time to really build and get to that next gear. Tajiri had a great showing in a losing effort to Grand Metalik. Man, I was gutted that Tajiri lost this early. I thought he was gonna go further, but at the end of the day, the younger guy got the rub, and that's the right choice. Jack Gallagher and Akira Tozawa had a pseudo-comedy match with a lot of fun spots, like when Gentleman Jack did a handstand to get out of a headlock, or when he turned Tozawa into a pretzel, which was a very amusing sight. Tozawa won with this beautiful deadlift German suplex, but many, including me, believe that Gallagher should have won this. Drew Gulak and Zack Sabre Jr. had a great ground-based mat wrestling style match. Gulak looked very dominant here, matching ZSJ move for move. That gory special with Zack's arm overstretched like that looked brutal, especially with his lanky frame. In the end though, Sabre would prevail by countering Gulak's Dragon Sleeper attempt into a very unique bridging pin. One of the best things I discovered because of this tournament is Zack Sabre Jr. and I've been a fan of his work in New Japan ever since. The final match of the second round saw Johnny Wrestling taking on TJ Perkins. So I know I said earlier that Ibushi was the guy who I thought was gonna win the tournament, but TJP was my personal pick to win the whole thing because hey, gotta support a fellow Filipino, man. I love how they worked Johnny's knee injury that he got from NXT TakeOver into this one. Johnny really sold it well throughout the match, even smashing his leg into the bell table when he did a running senton on the outside. Towards the end, Johnny was hobbling around with one leg, and guess what TJP's signature move was? Yup, a knee bar. He took advantage of his opponent's damaged leg till Gargano had no choice but to tap out. I gotta say, it surprised me that Gargano got eliminated in the second round, but honestly I wouldn't call it an upset due to the knee injury factor and TJP being just that damn good. And last, but definitely not least, I want to talk about Kota Ibushi versus Cedric Alexander. The best match of the entire tournament and one of my match of the year picks for 2016. These two put on an absolute banger. What's amazing is that this match doesn't even have a story to build off on. Heck, I don't even think they've faced each other before this. Just two great athletes putting on a 5-star classic like it was the finals of the tournament. You just know a match is gonna be good when you hear the crowd chanting.
Decided to get into professional wrestling.
Early to the match, we got this jaw-dropping back and forth sequence with both men trying to get the advantage. Then at one point, Cedric would nail Kota with a hard elbow followed by an uppercut, and Ibushi would give a vicious receipt with a stiff roundhouse kick. Side note, it makes me laugh every time Daniel Bryan would mark out when someone gets hit hard on the face.
Coming back, he chopped him in the face. Phoenix splash right on the face. He just chopped him in the face.
Both men sold like $1 million for each other in the match. With every move, every counter hitting with so much force, it looked like they legit wanted to kill each other. The crowd was so hot for this that we even got a And hey, I wouldn't mind if they did. There were so many times Cedric made us believe that he was about to pull off an upset win. Man, there was never a dull moment. It just builds and builds till we get to the awesome finish when Cedric would miss a diving foot stomp and Ibushi would nail him with a lightning quick German suplex, then a roundhouse kick to the head. Ibushi would call for the finish, delivering his golden star powerbomb to win the match. What a match. I can't give it any more praise than I already have. Cedric gave it his all, and even in defeat, he sure as heck won the respect of the fans. In one of the most touching moments of the entire tournament, as the crowd was chanting, "Please sign Cedric," Triple H would come out and give a nod of approval. Bruh, who's cutting onions here? Honestly, up until the semifinals, I don't think any matchup even come close to how good this one was.
If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe as it would really help me a lot and it lets me know that you want to see this kind of content.
We are in deep territory now at the quarterfinals of the tournament. We were treated to some great matchups here, and really all of them were "this is awesome" chant-worthy matches. Grand Metalik and Akira Tozawa had a fast-paced match that built to a great finish. I especially liked it when Metalik kicked out of the deadlift German suplex pin because they really sold this as his finisher throughout the tournament. Rewatching this really reminded me just how much of a beast Tozawa is on the ring, and it's kinda sad that they only saw him as a comedy act on the main roster. Zack Sabre Jr. and Noam Dar had a battle of who can break each other's leg or arm first. Sabre came out on top with a sick looking variation of the Rings of Saturn, using his legs and twisting Dar with so much torque it looked like he broke his arms. Rich Swann and TJP was an entertaining battle against two showmen, with both having a one-upsmanship dab-off early into the match. Again, much like his bout with Gargano, TJP targeted Swann's leg all throughout the match, which ultimately led to him making his friend tap out to the knee bar. Swann was super over with the crowd all throughout the tournament, so the audience were kinda disappointed with this loss. The real highlight of this round though was the Brian Kendrick Cinderella story coming to an end. I really like Brian's gimmick in this entire tournament. A once hot young prospect, now a grizzled veteran, fighting for one last chance to recapture his old glory. The big chip on his shoulder made his matches more entertaining to watch as he was doing everything he could to survive. And so came his swan song against Kota Ibushi. No one expected the Brian Kendrick to win here, except maybe for his best friend Daniel Bryan. But boy did he go out swinging. He tried every trick in the book, from goading Ibushi to fighting on the outside, to trapping his foot on the guardrail just to get a cheap countout win. At one point, he even pulled something we've never seen done in the WWE before. A proper burning hammer. And man, did the impact look sick as hell. There's a reason why this move was banned. In the end though, Ibushi would get the job done. Like the ones before him, Bryan would fall victim to the Golden Star Powerbomb. We got an emotional moment after the match when Daniel Bryan came out of the ring and both friends shared a tearful hug. We are down to the Fantastic Four, as Moore would say. The semifinals was really a tale of two underdogs going against two of the heavy favorites to win the tournament. Grand Metalik set the tone for the round, starting off white hot by sending Zack Sabre Jr. to the outside with a dropkick and following it up with a springboard senton. ZSJ got rocked at first, but he would eventually slow the match down to his pace again. I like the contrast of styles here, with dueling
An opportunity to ask you for your major keys in this matchup.
chants from the crowd. Metalik though showed that he's not just all flips, as he did some crafty submissions in this match as well. During the final stretches of the match, ZSJ would counter Metalik's springboard move with a perfectly timed armbar, but Metalik would power through and reverse it into a jackknife pin. He'd then catch Sabre with a surprise Metalik driver for the win. I remember watching this for the first time and being shocked at the result, as I was 100% sure Zack Sabre Jr. would win. And the last match of the round, Kota Ibushi vs TJP. Honestly, this nearly came close to topping the Cedric Alexander vs Kota Ibushi match from earlier. Ibushi was obviously the heavy favorite coming in, but TJP showed why he deserved to be treated as an equal. TJP had a great game plan early in the match, trying to block Ibushi's deadly kicks, but he'd soon fall victim to it anyway when Ibushi murdered him with kicks to the chest, and funny enough, the crowd started chanting During the late stretches of the match, TJP would reverse a powerbomb attempt to a DDT, spiking Ibushi's head clean on the mat. He would follow it up with a double knee gut buster for a near fall. Ibushi would deliver a Pele kick, but TJP with some seriously impressive timing turned it into a knee bar, then the best spot of the match. As they were exchanging strikes, Ibushi kicked TJP in the gut and finally delivered a picture-perfect Golden Star powerbomb. Everyone thought that was it. No one has kicked out of the move before, but TJP channeled his inner Super Cena and kicked out at the very last second. The crowd was in shock. I was in shock. I was ready to say GG to my pick. And then Ibushi would attempt one final powerbomb, but again TJP would reverse it into his knee bar. But that's not enough. In order to beat Ibushi, he would also yank his neck in disgusting fashion, almost like a brutal version of the STF, and pull off the biggest upset of the tournament by far, making Kota Ibushi tap out. The crowd was in disbelief. People were booing this man. His post-match interview almost got drowned out with "Thank you, Kota" chants, but I don't care. My boy is in God mode at that point, and he's punched his ticket to the finals. Reports would come out that Zack Sabre Jr. and Kota Ibushi only lost because they didn't sign with the WWE, and hey, I say good on them. They made the best decision for themselves. But at the end of the day, this only made the Cruiserweight Classic even more unpredictable, and I love it. And now we come to the final two, the cream of the crop.
The cream of the crop!
Gran Metalik versus TJP. With the tournament favorites gone, this was really anyone's guess as to who would win. Now I'ma be honest with you, this match wasn't as good as both of the semi-final matches, but this one had a big fight feel partly because of one final twist that Triple H would reveal. So earlier in the show, it was announced that the Cruiserweight division will be featured on Raw. And if you have a division, there must be some sort of prize to fight for, right? Well, Triple H thought so too, as he made a surprise announcement before the match started, saying that the winner of the finals will also be crowned the new Cruiserweight champion. He unveils the new Cruiserweight championship belt, and you know, it's looking pretty sharp with the purple team colors, but not gonna lie, I do like my classic belts better. The crowd started chanting, and then the match finally begins. It started off with some great chain wrestling. TJP does his signature head scissors takedown, but similar to the previous match, we got no dab, so you know he meant serious business. We get some great back and forth action, and then out of nowhere, Gran Metalik pulls off an insane flying head scissors to the outside. Metalik would kind of botch his follow-up dive though, as he lands straight on his back and the bump looked pretty nasty. In the closing moments of the match, Metalik would attempt an avalanche Metalik driver from the top rope, but TJP does it again with another brilliant reversal to his knee bar, making it 4 out of 4 in submission wins as Gran Metalik taps out. TJ Perkins is your new Cruiserweight champion, and I cannot be happier. We get some post-match interview, and it looks like the crowd was finally behind him chanting, "You deserve it." The show ends with TJP celebrating his win. What a journey it has been. In case you didn't know by now, the Cruiserweight Classic was a massive success, becoming one of the most popular WWE Network exclusive events. The Cruiserweights would make their debut at the very next episode of Raw to a pretty mild reaction. They would eventually get their own home in 205 Live, a 1-hour show that aired every Tuesday. And while it had some promising potential, bad storylines, poor booking decisions, and just a general lack of care for the product stifled what was once an exciting new venture. Even with the injection of main roster talents in Neville and Enzo gaining some interest into the show, it was always treated as the black sheep of WWE programming. On January 4, 2022, the Cruiserweight title was unified into the NXT North American title, officially retiring the belt, and not long after, 205 Live would close its doors for good. While the revived Cruiserweight division never quite reached the heights people hoped it would, mostly due to WWE's own fault, we could always look back fondly on the Cruiserweight Classic tournament, a one-time event that's a true classic.